Are you ready to do this, Matt?
Yes, sir. Punch it, Chewy.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton. My co-pilot is Matt Shaw. We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 210. We release every Thursday morning. You can find us on the website fortofnerd.com. We have links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by and relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. Matt, we're back from the old Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving? How are you right now? What is going on?
I'm great. Thanksgiving was wonderful. It's just such a great holiday. It was a lot of fun, Woke up and did the Thanksgiving Day parade, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and
How
Emmy's
was that?
just a little more fun. It was great. It was really not that different.
Because it was just
than
they
normally is.
they did floats and balloons, right?
Yeah, it was the same. Floats, balloons, weird Broadway shows that you never want to watch that they are trying to sell you on, and
Hmm.
the Rockettes, or what? Yeah, the Rockettes, just like the normal stuff, and like singers you never heard of on
But
like a Sesame Street
but no
float,
one was there, right?
No one was there.
Was it still 3 hours?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, it was just normal. I mean, there really was. I mean, the only thing is there's no crowd. It's like a sports game. I'm
Okay.
used to it now.
Okay.
It was just like the normal stuff. They pull up right in front of the Macy's in New York City and did their thing, and the float and the balloons and everything. So it was great. Emmy sat through the whole thing. She couldn't wait to see Santa because that was really a big deal.
Yeah.
She's still like like most little kids, she's still afraid of Santa a little bit, And so like when you go places and Santa is there, which this year we went to the mall once and Santa was there for some like social distance, group meet.
Yeah, how does
whatever,
that work?
Try to take your money in some fashion.
Santa does
Tammy
Zoom
couldn't even
meetings.
Look at the dude. Yeah, she couldn't even freaking look at the guy. She had to put her
Really?
head down and wave like this. I mean, you can't see me if you're on the audio portion of the podcast, but I put my head down, closed my eyes, and waved.
Wow.
But she was excited, and I smoked my turkey for the first time. I spatchcocked it.
Nice.
You rip out the spine and you smash it flat so it cooks evenly and pretty quickly. So I had a lot of fun with putting on some different situations of rubs and things and kind of make it up as I go. And it turned out really, really good. I think everyone had their doubts, myself included, because the turkey's like, I mean, as we talked about last week, for some it may not be the main event, but let's be honest, the carving of the turkey and the turkey is kind of the ceremonial star of the show. And so I was a bit nervous, but it ended up working just fine.
I disagree. The star of the show is stuffing. I'm gonna go back to it.
Stuffing's good too. We had stuffing and it was great.
The traditional spooning of the stuffing onto your plate. That's the start of it.
That
right there.
really is okay. Well,
Norman Rockwell painting, instead of slicing the turkey, it's digging into the stuffing.
Oh, delicious.
Oh, too funny.
So, and then all the fun stuff, just hanging out with family and doing our thing. Earlier in the week, we went to Buc-ee's, which
you went to Buc-ee's again?
Knows how much I love Buc-ee's. So we went there with my mom and dad since they were visiting.
Okay.
I gotta tell you, there was a lady, okay, and she was out in the parking lot. She was smoking a cigarette, and I told Emmy, smoking is dangerous and it smells, kind of
Sure.
just the whole spiel about that. Cause she, little kids, when something
Yeah.
is different, they like are loud about like, what is
Yes.
that smell? Oh my
Yes.
gosh. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
So get in the car and we're like, yeah, smoking is really bad and it can kill you, you know? It will kill you actually if
Right.
you are addicted to it. Get in the car and Emmy's really sad and she's like, Daddy gonna die? And I was like, do you think what? What? And then it took us a minute and I went, oh, Emmy, oh my gosh, honey. No, when daddy smokes out in the backyard, I'm not smoking a cigarette. I'm smoking turkey and I'm smoking brisket. And she was equating the two in her mind because they're the same. It's the same
Oh
terminology.
yeah.
It
Yes.
was so funny and so cute. I was
So
like,
you're
oh,
doing
I
barbecue
know.
and she's worried you're gonna die.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
so cute.
Because she knows the difference
That is
between all the
so
different
cute.
things that daddy does. And she was like, oh, daddy smokes, daddy smokes. Anyway, so
Oh,
that was really, really funny. And
that's
then
that's one of those moments where like you need to like write that down so you remember it later.
I know
Oh.
it was tender. She's a
Hmm.
tender gal. Anyway, and then just kind of the rest of the week was just chill and hanging out and not playing PlayStation 5. Look, I'm one of the very few who has a PlayStation 5 and it's
Killing me.
collecting dust,
You're
y'all.
killing me.
I know I'm a terrible person, but when you got
Killing me.
family and it's a
No,
holiday,
no,
like
I
I don't
get
have
that.
time. I got people sleeping in my office where I play.
I get
So
that.
I had
Yep.
absolutely no shot, which was fine, but like I want to play. But I did jump into Animal Crossing and time traveled backwards to Thanksgiving because
Right.
again, I haven't had time. I did the Turkey Day stuff and that was fun, and then I fast forwarded to Christmas and kind of been
Yeah.
doing some Christmassy things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, other than that, it's just been
Can I
hanging
can
out,
I ask you some Animal Crossing questions? Have
of
you figured
course.
out how to do the perfect snowman?
I haven't even seen an opportunity to make a snowman yet.
December 15th is the day you have to
I
hit.
went to December 15th. Maybe I don't have enough. Look, you need to come to my island and see how it is because I
Okay.
may not have any open like real estate. Like my whole island is completely
You don't have any
manicured.
grass?
Not really. It's
Hmm.
mostly like paved and flowers and trees, and you'll have to see. That may be part
Yeah,
of my problem. I might
that
need to
could
clear
be.
an area out, get rid of the pumpkin patch that I have.
Yeah,
Still haven't done that yet.
because
So
if you don't have a space for grass so snow can like really collect, you can't do the snowman, and if you don't do the snowman, you can't get all the DIYs.
okay,
And
I'll
and
clear out
that's
an
that's
area
like
then.
crucial.
Right, right, right. So other than that, just the family left. Took my sister to the airport today. She was the final guest that we had, and kind of were snapped back to semi normal. I mean, it still feels special in holidays and like
Yeah.
you know how it is kind of for the next couple of weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
work is up and then it's down. You got something to do, then you got nothing to
Yeah.
do. And so it's just kind of that like semi holiday fun time. So anyway, that's been good. How about you, man? How was your week?
My week has been really good. It's been busy. It's been kind of crazy. So this last week I returned full time again to game streaming. For the last couple weeks, I've just been so busy and so tired and worn down at the end of the day. It's like I wake up every morning. I was like, I'm gonna stream tonight. I'm gonna play video games and I'm gonna hang out and I'm gonna chat with all the
Yeah,
super friends. And then like by the time like 8 o'clock comes around, I'm still fighting with the kids to get them to bed. Then it's eight
right.
thirty. Then it's 9 o'clock, and then it's like 9:15, and I'm finally like, okay, I'm available now. But at that point, I'm just so dang tired, and I haven't had dinner, and I was just like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
That happened for a few weeks, but this last week I returned. I got to hang out with some friends. I played with Tim Paulin, and I played with Ryan, and just we were playing Fall Guys, trying to grind out that battle pass for season two, which ends in like a week, a little less than a week. So I'll get there. So I've been doing that, but it was just so much fun to jump back in to streaming. And over the Thanksgiving weekend, because we had like 4 days off, right? The Thanksgiving, the day
Mhm.
after, and then the Christmas or the weekend. I mean, I changed around all the themes on Twitch and spent some time and it made it all Christmas themed and went to a dollar store, or Brita actually went to a dollar store for me. I got a Santa hat and I got some reindeer ears and like little things to do as far as like, uh, rewards that can be, redeemed with channel points during game
Nice.
streams to kind of cheer it up. And then I also decided that I've had so many good friends, so many super friends that have supported me in and out this whole year in streaming that I'm gonna do a giveaway at the end of December.
Cool.
I'm gonna give away some Amazon gift cards to subscribers. So
Cool.
basically, what I'm gonna do is everyone who subs my channel, I'm gonna put them in for each sub as a raffle ticket, and I'm gonna raffle off a few Amazon gift cards and try to give back around the Christmas season. And then here's the other thing, Matt. Because I'm a silly boy, I'm gonna get some of that old spray paint stuff you can like put in hair, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
spray paint my beard white, and I'm gonna dress up as Santa, and we're gonna do a Santa Christmas stream. I may read "Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Oh,
I may do like
nice.
it's like we're going full on
Cool,
holidays,
man.
Matt.
That's
Like
awesome.
December is joy. Like this is like for me a continuation of the fact that like right after Halloween was over, I was like, we got to start bringing joy in our lives. Like that's why we put up our Christmas decorations early.
Yep.
It's why we got our lights up. Like our house has got all the lights on the outside now, and they're going. 5 o'clock hits, the timer kicks on, boom, lights are going on, and they stay until about like 11:30, and then they kick off. So that's real good. I did not smoke my turkey.
I'm
I had
ashamed of
I
you.
had every intention, but it was only Brita and I and the two boys for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. And Brita said she wanted to do like turkey gravy and use the drippings,
Yep.
and you
Yep.
can't really do that. Even like if you collected the drippings on a Traeger or a pellet grill or whatever, they're all going to be really, really smoky and bitter.
Yep.
So you're not going to want to make a gravy out of that. So we're just like, let's just toss it in the oven for 3 hours, which is exactly what we did. The bird was really, really good. And we just had some pie afterwards, kind of hung out with the kids, watched some movies. We've started our kind of family tradition of now watching a Christmas movie when we have family time together and we watch a movie. So we watched the Christmas Chronicles on Netflix, and that was
That one
fun.
was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, and there's
This one
there's going
wasn't
to be a
bad.
sequel, so we're going to follow that up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, I can't remember if we talked about this last week, but the next book in Brandon Sanderson's The Stormlight Archives series just released, and that's like one of my favorite book series, and so I'm really looking forward to like reading it. However, he did release a novella that takes place in between book 3 and book 4, and it's small. It took me maybe like 3 hours to read it, but I picked that
Hmm.
up and I read that over the Thanksgiving break, and that was a lot of fun. Um, oh, the last thing I'll talk about. My friend Craig, who is a supporter of the show, he is a super friend. Craig Tornquist, he did his Extra Life stream this weekend. So he played games for 24 hours, raised a little over $1,000 for charity,
Wow.
and I got to jump in and kind of like hang out with him most of the day. And then I think I played Fall Guys with him for I don't know, from maybe like 8 o'clock to like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
told him, I was like, hey, I'll stay up and play with you as long as I possibly can to kind of help him burn some of those later hours,
Yeah.
because he started at 7 a.m. And when I picked up with him, he'd been going like 12 hours. And so then we played for like
Hmm.
6.5 hours. But it was around like 1 in the morning. I was starting to get a little tired. And I just said, I'm gonna give you one more hour, buddy. And he's like, you don't have to. I'm like, I know I don't have to, but I want to. You're raising money for kids. I wanna, I wanna, I wanna hang
Yeah.
out with
Yeah.
you and help you keep going and keep that hype and that momentum. So that was a lot of fun being able to be a part of his stream as he
Cool.
was raising money for charity. So it was a good week. Like it was a lot of fun. It was nice to have a break. I'm already looking forward to Christmas because I'm going to take the last 2 weeks of December off because I've got some PTO that I need to use. So good times. Like I'm really looking forward to the next few weeks and the things coming up, and
Yeah, man.
feeling good, Matt. Feeling good.
Good.
So I think at least I'm feeling good. And in the spirit of Christmas, Matt, I think we have to kill some Bothans.
Let's do it.
I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Matt, we are into Rebel Intelligence. What do you have for us this week?
So, it's Christmas time, all right?
Yep.
People are buying gifts. They're buying presents. They probably already bought a lot of the presents. And I hope you didn't get a Darksaber, all right, from Star Wars as it pertains to the Mandalorian TV show and Mandalore in general.
I mean, I'm considering it.
Well, you definitely shouldn't.
Uh-oh, why?
How selfish of you. Don't you keep up with Watchdog World Against Toys Causing Harm?
I can't say that I do.
Oh my gosh, their annual top 10 list of toys that are too dangerous, like it's a must read for me and my family every year. No, it's not, but it's a thing. And they want to keep people safe.
Okay. So they're an advocacy, like a watchdog group.
Yes. Now, the Darksaber has made their list of top 10 worst 2020 toys.
Wow.
And they don't mean like worst, like it's a crappy toy. They mean worst as in like dangerous to you.
So as when
else.
we were kids, you mean best toys?
Yeah, like every kid,
Gotcha.
Every toy I had as a kid. So anyway,
right.
Long story short, this is dangerous because it's a plastic sword and you can hit people with it. It's dangerous not because of small parts or choking hazards or because like you could hit someone.
I understand.
No, you don't.
No. I understand how people would want to like say like, you know, hey, you should be or parents, you should be aware, you should be careful, because there's websites that'll say like, you know, you should know what's in this movie if your children's blah blah blah. But like
yeah.
At some point, like I get the like, hey, putting the label that says like children under 3 shouldn't play with this because small parts, choking hazard, like that. Right. I totally get. Yeah. But like to go through and be like, hey, we need to label this toy sword as dangerous. Like it's a toy sword. Its intention, its sole purpose is to be swung around and to use it to hit things and stab things. Obviously, kids are gonna go after other. I mean, when I was a kid, if the Darksaber was a thing, you know, I would have been chasing my brother around. It would have been a fight like, how many times can I stab him? Where can I stab him? How can I hit him? How can I hit him and hurt him just enough to not get in trouble? Like, it would have been all those things, right? Because that's how kids think. Or, if you have 2 kids with them, they're going to have lightsaber battles. My boys have lightsaber. Like, come on. So, like, just say, like, caution, you'll poke your eye out. Ugh. Like, okay, Karen, we got it.
So anyway, don't buy it. It's too dangerous.
Don't buy
it. I mean,
Super Friends, go out and buy the Darksaber toy in droves. Let's make this thing the hottest selling item this year, just to spite this watchdog group called, what was it called? Like Watch, like what was it?
Watchdog Super Legion of Doom or something like that.
Oh, hey, Matt, in other news, water is wet. Just thought you'd like to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just thought you'd like to know, yeah. Okay, here's something I have that I find very interesting and not for good reasons. I don't know. So,
okay.
Back in the day, Nintendo had these Pokemon cards with this character Kadabra on it.
Oh yeah.
And Kadabra was this character who held a spoon, and a a magician named Uri Geller basically like sued Nintendo and like brought a cause against them 20 years ago to stop them from printing this image, because he says that the in the US the name is Kadabra, but in Japanese it's written as Younger or Yun Geller or Yun Geller, which seems to be some sort of translation or reference to Uri Geller. And he's this illusionist, and some of his most famous things is bending spoons. And so he stopped Nintendo for 20 years using this character, saying that like it's kind of looks like him and it's named after him and he's holding a spoon, and so therefore it's him. And he got all upset because they said like, they took his likeness and they turned him into this kind of evil occult Pokemon character. Well, it's been 20 years now, and he's finally saying like, look, okay, um I've been getting lots of emails and lots of messages, and so I'm going to allow Nintendo to go ahead and print this character and use my likeness, and I'm going to I'm going to allow them to do this and lift my ban or lift my my lawsuit or whatever, so that they can do this. Here's the thing. So, first of all, Uri Geller, in my opinion, is a D bag. Like,
Sure.
he, for years and years, would not say, I'm a magician. He would say he had the ability because he was taken by aliens, that he had these special powers, that he could, do all these things. And, like, years and years ago, like in, like, the 70s, Johnny Carson had him on his show. And Johnny Carson, like, had known some magic, had done some magic, and he basically like brought in a real magician, James Randi, to like set up this thing that like it's a trick that it's an illusion that Uri Geller would do, but they switched and they put in all their own stuff, and they didn't like let him use his stuff, so he couldn't have little things that would make the illusion go. And so they asked him to do it live on the air, and Yuri tried and he tried, and Johnny was kind of like he was like holding his feet to the fire, and then basically he was like, I just don't feel strong today or whatever. And so like for years this guy has gone around claiming that he has special abilities and whatnot, and like magician after magician after magician have like debunked this, like, no, he's just a magician. And right. And so like he's not very well looked upon in those circles, right, because he tries to pretend that he's got these ethereal, unworldly powers that no one else does. And it's just like, dude, it's stage magic. Call yourself a magician. So like he's just kind of that kind of guy already.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he went after like Pokemon and stopped kids from being able to use a Pokemon card that was a character that people like, enjoyed, like just so like after 20 years now he's graciously saying, you can use that likeness. I'll pull my, my withdrawal, my, consent, and say, fine, go ahead.
Right.
I saw this and I just went like, well, I'm glad for kids that saw the Pokemon cards 20 years ago and are now adults, because they're going to have some sort of, frame of reference. But to new kids, I'm like, my kids won't know anything about this. They're not going to know that. It's one of those things where like it pops up, and like for me, because I've dabbled in the magic world some, and I'm very, very amateur magician, and to see it was Uri Geller was just like, oh, please, like, come on. Anyway.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
yeah.
You know a lot about magic and about that guy that I've never heard of.
Go watch Uri Geller on Johnny Carson. It's like a 10-minute clip. It's totally worth going in and checking out.
Interesting. Well, the Pokemon fans rejoice, but I didn't even know that you couldn't use what's his name? Alakazam, Kazoo,
Kadabra.
Kadabra. I knew about Kadabra back in the day, 20 whatever years ago. But I don't remember the card being a problem. Anyway, whatever.
Weird.
Very strange.
Yep.
Let's talk more about the sad and the strange. Actually, really none of today's Rebel Intelligence on my end is great news. So Disney has updated or revised, I guess, their layoffs up to 32,000 employees at the beginning of 2021. Let's say, due to the current climate, including COVID-19 impacts and changing environment in which we are operating, the company has generated efficiencies in its staffing, blah, 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 blah. As part of these actions, the employment of approximately 32,000 employees, primarily at Parks, Experience, and Products, will terminate in the first half of fiscal 2020.
Ouch.
It's a big, big, big number.
Yeah.
And, it just sucks. There's no way. I mean, and you can't blame Disney for this. This isn't their fault.
No,
I mean,
right.
They're, in my opinion, when you look at Disney, they are absolutely doing the best they can and everything they possibly can to keep their parks open, their experiences safe and open. People should not be mad at Disney for this. This is just part of the world that we live in right now. And I know people could say, oh, but they can all take pay cuts and keep these people. That's not how business works.
Well, yeah, it's not. And if you're talking about I don't know, people that sweep the parks, right? That help clean it up.
Yeah.
They're probably not making a ton of money anyway. And so a pay cut, sometimes at that level, you're like, okay, that'll help, but it's not going to help the company enough.
Yeah.
And I get it, right? So they, especially in California, they can't open their park. So the company's just bleeding money, keeping people employed and paying them not to work. Right. So I get that. My question is, eventually, is this going to bleed over into the television production stuff? Or do you think that's okay and safe because they're still producing content for Disney Plus that'll still bring in subscribers and money?
I think if anything, it grows with the addition of Fox and with the already them, saying they're going to go heavy and hard into Disney Plus. I think it just grows. And I actually think that all the COVID operations that they'll have to work through for, hopefully, let's cross our fingers, only the next couple of months, creates more jobs than it does eliminate them. I mean, there's probably on every production that they're doing, there's probably at least 5 people that are just in charge of COVID stuff.
Yeah.
At least maybe 20, maybe 80. I don't know. I don't see it bleeding over. Look, this is a California problem.
Yeah.
The Disneyland park in California. That's the long and the short of it. And it's, other things in all of the parks that can't open right now. But let's be real. This is California.
Right.
And it sucks. So
anyway,
yeah,
that's too bad. I mean, it's business, so it's understandable, but it's unfortunate at the same time.
Yep.
Matt, totally. I have some really sad news for you.
Oh my gosh.
Darth Vader is dead. And I don't mean the character, but I mean the actor David Prowse, who was the man inside the suit.
Yeah.
He just died at 85. And sadly, it's because of COVID. But David Prowse, he grew up in Bristol, England. He was an actor. He was a bodybuilder. He had trained Christopher Reeve to bulk up and help him look better for Superman. He had trained and worked out with Arnold Schwarzenegger, knew Arnold really well. He did a role in England called the Green Cross Codeman, and basically it was to promote British road safety. But of course, the thing that he's most well remembered for is that he was cast by George Lucas to be inside of the suit for Darth Vader. And originally, when they brought him in, George Lucas wanted someone who was tall. He wanted someone who was big. And he said, you can either have one of these two roles. You can either be Chewbacca or you can be Darth Vader. And David Prowse said, well, I'm going to be Darth Vader because who doesn't want to be a villain? The villain gets to do all the cool things. And so he was in the suit. He did all the acting through the original trilogy of movies. And then, of course, when it came time for the movie to like really get going and, going in post-production, his voice was dubbed over by James Earl Jones because his voice had this British quality that wasn't going to convey the terror, the ominence of this character the way that they needed it to. And so of course you're only going to hear his voice in the suit if you go and look at some of like the outtakes and things you can find on YouTube and on some of the DVDs and whatnot. But it's sad to know, I mean, he was 85 years old, but he just passed away like right before Thanksgiving. So sadly, we've lost another person in the Star Wars universe. I mean, this goes along with Peter Mayhew, who recently passed away, who played Chewbacca, Kenny Baker, 4 years ago, who played R2-D2. So for me, I'm really sad, and I'm sad for him. I'm sad for his family and friends, people who knew him well. But I'm a little sad too, because it's kind of like all these pieces of my childhood, the people that have been behind him. I mean, Carrie Fisher's gone. Like it's just like little pieces of things that meant so much to me as a child and so much to me throughout a big chunk of my life. Unfortunately, some of these people are passing on now and aren't with us anymore. And so it just kind of feels like, a little bit of you's gone in a way.
Sure. It is sad. I wish he was able to have the technology we have now to act it, because his lightsaber guns are so stiff. I feel bad for him. Bummer, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is sad. Certainly doesn't get much of the credit for Darth Vader.
No.
We always think James Earl Jones when we think Darth Vader.
Right.
But many, I mean, even when you look at the characters of Star Wars, Peter Mayhew, he was awesome, but I feel like he just kind of toward the end of his life started to get the credit that he deserved as he got hurt, as he got sick. I mean, as he realized he couldn't move like he could and his body wasn't functioning. And then we all kind of, anyway, long story short, it's a sad time.
Yeah.
That's sad. I've got more interesting, sad, not really sad to me.
Okay.
But maybe to some people. Square Enix.
Yeah.
Had their investor meeting earlier this month.
Ooh.
And they said, we had this like game come out and we like worked really hard on it. And it was called Marvel's Avengers. And like, we're here to announce that game lost $67 million.
Ooh. Yikes.
Ouch.
Wow.
Ouch. So this is a massive failure. And you think about the costs that go into making a regular video game. Like, let's just say an original game.
Sure.
Okay, there's a lot of costs. Then you've got, now we've got these properties licensed to us that we had to pay for.
Yep.
Then we've got all the advertising, because this is not just a game. This is like a massive game. This is an Avengers game. We got to put all this stuff behind it. No. Would not have even covered the development costs. Even if they didn't do any of the other stuff, it would not have even covered the development costs. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Did you get the game?
No.
Do you know anybody who got the game?
A few people. I have a few friends that I know that ended up getting it, and playing it for a little while, and I feel like it was mixed reviews. Some people said they really loved it, and others just kind of went, it was cool
Yeah.
for a hot minute.
So, I'm sure that they're going down this rabbit hole of what did we do wrong.
Right.
From my perspective, as somebody who owns the ability to play this game, they made it look dumb to me. The trailers did nothing for me. The way that the characters looked from what I'm familiar with in the
Yeah.
Marvel Universe really turned me off. The voices, it just didn't look good. It didn't look fun. There's some games that, I don't know, like you don't look at The Last of Us and go, that looks fun. You look at The Last of Us and go, well, I have to play that story.
Right.
With the Avengers game, to me, it didn't look fun at all, and the story was not conveyed well in the trailers. And when it was sort of there, it looked not interesting to me in any way, shape, or form. So
yeah. So
lots of ways to point the blame, I think.
you bring up a good point with like a game like The Last of Us or Last of Us 2. You know that like the story's going to be on point. But the gameplay's really, really solid. Like it's really solid, so like it feels good to play it. With a game like the Avengers, like you want the gameplay to be really good, but at the same time, like this is Avengers. Like you need to like bring people in, and I kind of feel like, and this was something that kind of turned me off to it. And I kind of went, I'm gonna wait and see. Was one, we've seen the MCU versions of a lot of these characters over the last 10 years, a little more than 10 years at this point. Some of the face models and whatnot that were used just looked too far off what culturally is kind of in the zeitgeist of how these characters look right now. Now, if you're a comic purist or someone who's read the comics, you can go and be like, Spider-Man could look like Tom Holland, but he also could look like Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield or whatever, right? Pick someone else. Tony Stark could look different than Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
But right now, if I say, what does Tony Stark look like? You're thinking of Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of him. Most people are going to. So I think that was a big misstep in not being a little closer aesthetically. But then on top of that, like the story as it was portrayed in the advertisements was that like you're not playing as some of the big heroes. It's kind of focusing around this other character that people aren't aware of because of the MCU. And I kind of went, I mean, I have no problem with that, and that's cool. It's something different. But if you wanted to hook more people, if you would have said like, look, the main character is Iron Man or Captain America or whatever, I think that would have helped more. And so like I felt like the marketing just wasn't good.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. We didn't know what the game was. I had no idea. Like, check out gameplay of the Incredible Hulk. I'm like, what? Why is he there? Why am I playing as him? Why am I playing as 8,000 different characters? Like, what is this about? And they did an awful job. And they brought in Big Hands Lady, which I never even figured out what her story was or who she even is. Didn't even take the time because it looked that bad.
Yeah. Kamala Khan.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's just...
Sure. Sure. You could have said literally any name. I'd have been like, yep, that's the one.
It's just...
Kamala Harris. That's the one. Yep.
Right. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But $67 million? Ooh.
Square Enix might be in some trouble.
I hope that
I
final...
thought it was weird, too. I'm just going to say, I thought it was weird that Square Enix was making this game. Like, that's not their wheelhouse to make like a Western... like a solid Western.
Well, they do the Tomb Raider games now.
Okay.
So I mean the last three Tomb Raider games have been Square Enix.
I guess that's true. Well, they should have made it look more like that and show gameplay that looked more like that and less stupid.
I also got to say I think superhero video games are hard to do. I mean,
Hey,
I
man.
just
Sony killing it, man.
Sony did recently,
Miles Morales is amazing. By
but
the way, I
like,
just got to put that plug in. Game is sick,
I,
so good.
I had it on while Craig was playing, but I really didn't watch it because I
Yeah.
don't want to be spoiled.
Mhm.
I don't know how it is because I don't have no PS5.
Yeah, it's
We
good.
gotta get some supply up in here. But
Yeah,
anyway, well, 67 million. That's a big loss.
yeah, it's a
You're
loss.
you're uh
Definitely. You're
you're
hurting.
you're hurting. You're hurting.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, Matt. Last week we asked our super friends
Yes.
what are their three favorite things they make room for on their plate. What are their three things they don't make room for on their plate? And I'm
Yeah.
imagining that a lot of the super friends that ate Thanksgiving dinner were probably hurting afterwards because they ate too much. I know I did. So let's go and let's read some of the answers to this week's question of the week and find out how the super friends are doing after after their big meal and what their three things are that they eat and three things they won't make room for. We're gonna start over on email like we always do, fortofnerd@gmail.com. We have Peter Christensen. He says, "Dear nerds, Spencer, my wife also wants a new table and chairs, so I'm not letting her listen to this episode." Peter, I bought table and chairs and end tables as well. Good luck with that. Good luck. He says, "You probably already mentioned it in Rebel Intelligence, but the situation with the Chappelle show is crazy." And we actually didn't talk about this, Matt. He says his original sketch show, The Chappelle Show, was incredibly popular and beloved, but he does not own the rights to it, or even to use his name on a TV show. He found out that the show was on Netflix and other streaming services, and although the owners weren't required to, they didn't ask him. He's not making anything from his show streaming. He asked Netflix to take it down, and they did, and he's encouraging his fans to boycott his show on other platforms. He has shown himself to be a socially wise man, and this is a fascinating display of using fame and public love to change the negotiation situation with the rights holders. I wish him success, but I also hope that this begins a shift to align the interests of media and creators. Also, I've heard several creators on other podcasts gush over how well Netflix treated Chappelle through this situation. Whatever they lost from pulling the show, they had more than made up with it in credibility with creatives. So we didn't actually talk about that. I don't know if you saw that much because I was
Yeah,
actually I was actually watching the Chappelle show, and then one day it was just gone. I went, that's kind of weird. And
Remember
then
you mentioned that you were watching it.
yeah, and then I saw it on Twitter. So here's the thing, I I think it's great that he calls up Netflix and says like, "Hey, I'm not getting paid," and he admits, he says, "I signed that contract." He says, "I signed that contract before streaming was a thing. Before there was that." He's like, "I didn't know." He's like, "No one knew." He's like, "I did sign that legally. CBS Viacom, they have every right to stream that show." He says, "But is that right?"
Right.
And Netflix they agreed with him, which is interesting too because Netflix has produced like I think 4 or 5 of his comedy specials, and they wanted to take care of him because they know that those comedy specials have been really good for them and that they want to support him. And I don't know where you fall on this, but I like that Netflix stood up for Dave and they said, "You know what, out of solidarity, we're going to take it off our platform until they can come to some sort of agreement with you."
Yeah. I mean, I like it too. I mean, Netflix has a deal with him too, though.
Sure.
It would be like if they didn't have a deal, I don't know that they would have done it, and we'll never know what their true
Purpose, yeah,
are,
motives, yeah.
right? It's like Adam Sandler has a deal with Netflix too, and what if Adam Sandler wasn't getting paid? That's an awkward working relationship that you would have.
Right.
So yes, I want to believe that they had the best intentions, but I've been in business too long and seen too many, you don't get that high without questioning some people. So I'll take the opposite of this and I say good move, but out of self-interest, not to endear themselves
Maybe.
to creators.
Maybe.
That's
Maybe.
I will take that stance.
And you know what? Even if that is true, right now it's a PR win for them
Yeah, it's still
and
good.
it made
great.
and it made one of their creators happy, and so I like it. We'll see what happens in the future. Peter goes on and says, I'm glad Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be released to theaters and HBO this year, but there's no way to see this as anything but resigning themselves to losing $1 billion in box office sales and picking up whatever scraps are left. Mulan, Tenet, and Wonder Woman have to be the biggest losers this year. It remains to be seen how movies like Ghostbusters, Top Gun 2, and the next wave of MCU films do next year. I would pick Wonder Woman over Soul just because I keep hoping DC will do something right and be worthy competition to the MCU, driving them both to be better. So that was kind of in reference to our, which one you're going to watch on Christmas Day. And I agree. I mean, at this point, this is just...
I'm watching both. I don't even know. Why do I got to choose one?
Well, I mean, yeah.
One with my kids and then one at night.
Yeah, maybe, right? Yeah. But I agree with Peter. I think this is just them signaling, okay, we're giving up the hope. We got to move on. Yeah. Yep. Our Thanksgiving plans were a little different this year. We couldn't gather with our relatives here, so made a modest Thanksgiving meal for lunch. Includes smoked turkey on my Traeger. Then we got a really good deal to spend Thanksgiving night at a Great Wolf Lodge, an indoor water park and resort outside of Seattle. We had a great time, played in the water, ate lots of pizza, and went to the arcade, with masks, don't worry, where my son discovered he loves air hockey. We came back Friday afternoon and set up our tree and other Christmas decorations, and we're now in the full Christmas spirit. My take on Thanksgiving food was a little different. I was a very picky eater when I was growing up, so while I enjoy them now, I didn't like things like gravy, stuffing, which my grandfather made with onions, or pie. Don't worry, I love pie now, but it's not a staple. Until recently, my wife and I have never lived near relatives, so the menu was up to us, and we erred on the side of keeping it simple. Green bean casserole is my wife's favorite, so we have it at every holiday. I make some pretty killer mashed potatoes, so everyone expects those. And while we've had ham about as often as turkey, the smoked turkey breasts this year were simple, delicious, and everyone liked them. So this is the new staple. The only other thing I'll add is that I have never heard of Matt's ambrosia salad outside of the Homestar Runner cartoon Let Us Give Tanks, starring the Cheat Commandos. It's well worth the 5 minutes, and it's a staple of Thanksgiving in our household. Congrats on 4 years of podcasting, Spencer. Happy Thanksgiving and cheers, Peter Christensen.
Thanks, Peter.
He has a P.S.
Oh.
P.S. My wife and I finished New Girl. Things got better after I threatened quitting about a month ago, but I got very annoyed with Jess and Nick by the end of the show.
Of course.
Mostly, we're watching to finish and see what ridiculous stuff Winnie and Bish would do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand anything in that sentence, Matt.
Winnie the Bish, man, and his bird shirts. Shout out to Winnie the Bish. Dude's a stud.
Okay, you got it, man.
He's not done with it yet?
They just finished. Yeah.
Okay.
He says, I finished The Punisher Season 1 on Netflix, and that is probably tied for my favorite season. It's brutally violent, but also has such touching moments of manhood, brotherhood, and fatherhood. It doesn't get much more emotional than Lewis's father comforting him after his misfire, or Frank telling about his son painting a Marine on the wall saying, Daddy, Marines scare away bad guys. With you gone, I need to protect our girls. Every character is complex and real, and you root for and against everyone throughout the season. A masterpiece. I'm partway through Jessica Jones Season 2, and it's a very slow building and moody compared to The Punisher. Okay, I'm going to do a little editing here. Now for the main course, Mandalorian Chapter 13. For me, this was the jaw-dropping, pivotal episode that you guys felt about Chapter 12. I've not seen any of Rebels or Clone Wars, so Ahsoka Tano was a new character to me. You know I'm a big fan of Rosario Dawson, and it was so cool to see a new Jedi. Unlike last episode, I felt the pacing of this was absolutely perfect for what happened, and there was a bunch of scenes that I would like as computer wallpapers or framed prints, particularly the samurai battle by the water. I agree that Baby Yoda deserves a cuter name than Beep. but it wouldn't surprise me if even the name is conveyed to casual viewers that he won't stay so precious and adorable forever. But to me, the name drop of Beep was the most momentous wink wink reveal since Thanos after the credits of the Avengers. A plus plus plus.
Nice.
And I'm adding in the beeps because there are going to be super friends that are going to listen to this podcast that have not watched that episode possibly yet. And so didn't want to give anything away, but I will say go and listen to our Sidekick podcast on The Mandalorian if you have seen it. Because we talk about the episodes and nothing's held back. We talk about the things we like or don't like, which is mostly like. And in this last episode, it was all love. Like
All like, yeah.
I felt like I'm like, man, maybe we need a different point of view, but no, like there was no other way to look at it. It was just excellent all the way through. But thank you, Peter, for your email. We're gonna jump over to Twitter, and we're gonna start with El Mico at Gizpicka. He says, "Gotta have stuffing, the smoked turkey, not that baked stuff, and those delicious sweet potatoes." Just the way he says delicious sweet potatoes makes me hungry right now. It says, "Get that green bean casserole out of there. I'm not trying to be healthy, and stuffing at my wife's family has too much celery for me. And the salad? Who wants salad on Thanksgiving?" I agree with everything about that stuffing. Stuffing's amazing. Maybe switch to a stovetop or something. Tim Paulin at TPaulin20 says, "Stuffing, turkey, gravy, repeat until comatose." I love that, and it's so true. Yes. Ryan Kubacki at RMK Buried Alive says, "Always turkey/ham, green bean casserole, and deviled eggs." Oh, Ryan, I'm so glad you brought up deviled eggs because I love deviled eggs.
Yeah, pulling it back, I made deviled eggs after the podcast.
Yes,
We had them.
we had them too.
I mean me. And
Yep.
like maybe everyone had like one half. I had like
So here's the thing. I was going to, like, on Thanksgiving morning, I was going to make them. Then my mom said, "Hey, I'm coming over and I'm bringing you a couple sides that I had extra of." She brought me a plate of like 12 deviled eggs.
Ooh,
So I didn't have to make them.
nice.
And then she brought over like this like cheesy broccoli thing and some sweet potato casserole, which, gosh, like,
We
you
know
don't,
where that went.
there's no vegetables in that thing. It's just brown sugar, butter, and marshmallows.
Yeah.
I actually ate some of it like later in the day.
good for you.
It was pretty good. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, here's the things that Ryan never has. And I just got to say, Ryan and I are on the same wavelength here. Never cranberry sauce of cranberry. I like food. Yes, I agree. Get that
Yep.
cranberry junk out of here. No, just do not need it. Side Hustle Ninja at dspin67 says, "Must have yams, mac and cheese, meatballs. Never have ham, pumpkin anything, green bean casserole."
This is a strange list.
Okay, so yeah, like, I'm gonna break this
I don't
down.
hate it.
I'm gonna break this down. Like yams, okay, I get that. Especially if we're talking like the style I was just talking about that my
Right.
mom made with the brown sugar, the butter, and the marshmallows, because it's literally like a dessert. It really is. Mac and cheese, like, that's very common. I know a lot of people do it, and smoked mac and cheese is amazing. Meatballs, though, I'm wondering if someone in the family's Italian or something, because that seems very unusual.
That is
Very
unusual.
non-traditional. Not unusual. Meatballs aren't unusual, but just very non-traditional.
Yes.
But then the never haves ham.
What?
I was like, okay.
That's good.
Like,
though.
yeah, for me it's not like a Thanksgiving.
But
That's
if you're
Christmas.
having meatballs and ham at the same meal,
That-
if
yeah,
you
that
choose
might be a
meatballs,
little
you don't wanna
weird.
choose ham too.
Okay,
That would
yeah.
be yucky.
Pumpkin though. No pumpkin pie?
Pumpkin's so good. Pumpkin everything.
No pumpkin. Nah, I don't agree pumpkin everything, but pumpkin pie? No pumpkin pie? Okay. Green bean casserole. Like I love it, but whatever. Like
don't
I
like
get that.
casserole.
All right.
Overrated.
The last one we got Shelly. I love you, and then there's I love you symbols. X's a little lighter. A broken heart. BLM
Love it. Yeah.
at Shelly Marie 19XX says always mashed potatoes, sweet potato casserole, pecan pie. Pecan pie. Never turkey, cranberry sauce, and ham.
So
I love the always there, but turkey?
no main dish, like no
Like,
meat.
I mean,
Maybe she's vegetarian. We
yeah,
don't know.
you know what? Maybe. I mean, yeah, because no ham, no
Again,
turkey.
kind of an odd situation there, but hey,
What
that's
what
great.
what would
the
you
odd.
what would you have as a protein if you didn't have turkey or ham at Thanksgiving?
Meatballs, obviously.
Deesman's meatballs. Yeah, I got
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
it. Okay.
Three possibilities. Is
Fair
meatballs,
enough.
duh.
Fair enough. Super friends, thank you so much for those answers. I did get the question of the week out on Thanksgiving Day to try to help remind some of you as you were eating and partaking of this that we were still talking about food. And a lot of you came through actually on Thanksgiving Day, which I thought was really kind of cool.
Awesome.
So thank you so much. We appreciate your answers. We appreciate your interaction week after week. You make the show fun and engaging, so thank you. Matt, how can the Super Friends give us a hand this week?
Well, as you always do, like, comment, subscribe, find us on YouTube, watch our videos, and hang out with us on Twitch if you get the opportunity every Monday, 8 my time. That's Central. In case you're wondering what my time is.
Right. 8 my
Hop
time.
on at 8 my time. No, thank you for all you do. Thanks for participating. We love it. The main spiel I do every time. But instead of me saying, like, here's something you can do for us, and like it's like watch this or do this or be thankful for this. Will you please? This will be interesting experiment too. See how many people actually listen to the podcast when the questions are being asked anyway. The question I have is, please recommend to us a Christmas movie that most or many people have not heard of. Like that's kind of like
It's like a deep cut.
like a weird, like, yeah. No, I don't want to hear if I get Home Alone or if I get A Christmas Vacation or A Christmas Story, I'll be disappointed. Okay, give me like a weird one. Like there's one that I like with Melissa Joan Hart. Shout out to Nickelodeon in the 90s.
Oh, here we go.
Holiday in Handcuffs.
What?
So good. So good. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to have to go look it up for yourselves, Super Friends, and figure it out.
Okay.
It's great. It's
Holiday
great
in
Christmas
Handcuffs.
fun.
So
Anyway, there you go.
So
give me a weird one.
you want a deep cut, so to speak.
Yeah.
You want something that's not the traditional, like,
20th century
Christmas
Fox. I don't want none of
story,
that.
and yeah.
Yeah, give us some weird stuff.
Okay.
Not weird per se, but anyway.
I know what you're saying, but
y'all know what I'm saying.
But I like watching you flounder around as you're trying to say
I'm
it.
trying to come aboard. I can't friggin' find out or whatever. There you go.
Okay. Fair enough. Matt,
Yeah.
do you want to introduce our discussion topic?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
So we had something missing from Rebel Intelligence this week because we wanted to have it be our discussion topic or kind of the reason that we're having this discussion. And that is a couple of weeks ago we talked about how Johnny Depp is out.
Yeah.
As Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts. We now have some casting information, which is the rumor that I talked about like 2 weeks ago too, where I said I don't want to talk about it because it's not confirmed yet. And that is that Mads Mikkelsen will be replacing Johnny Depp as Grindelwald.
Yeah. Interesting.
So kind of an interesting, I love it. I think it's a great, if you're going to replace Johnny Depp, I think that he could play it well. I think he looks enough the part where it could work too. But this made me think, and I brought this to Spencer, and we thought let's make this discussion. It made me think about movies and TV shows where some character had to be replaced in some way.
Yeah.
Maybe they died, they moved on to another project, they got fired, like in the case of Johnny Depp in this circumstance. And we could kind of go through some of those movies and then give the actor or actress who is replacing the first one kind of a rating. Like, how did they do as that character? Because we're all going to watch Fantastic Beasts 3 and we're all going to compare what Mads Mikkelsen is doing to what Johnny Depp did. Johnny Depp did great. I thought he was an excellent Grindelwald. I was gutted when I found out that he was fired. And there's a lot of reasons, and I'm just talking about the actor, not the human being. I'm not trying to make any statement on whether he's innocent or guilty or whatever.
Right.
I just like Johnny Depp as an actor. I think he's excellent, and I think he's great in these kind of weird, dark roles. So it'll be interesting to see. And Mads Mikkelsen is no stranger to weird, dark roles. I think he played Hannibal Lecter for years and years on that Hannibal show. So he's very familiar with like creepy.
Yeah. Oh, so, Mads Mikkelsen. He's got some skills. Yeah.
Got some good stuff. So, Spencer and I made a list of as many as that we knew of and familiar with enough to kind of talk about. Just a nice little list here of these changes that have been made. And this does not include like you hear rumors of originally this person was cast and they filmed some scenes. None of that. This is like we saw them on screen, whether that's the big screen or a TV show, and then they were changed. Sometimes not even addressed. You just watch the show and you're like, what the F happened?
Right.
You're supposed to accept that this happened? Okay.
Yep.
And then you roll on. So anyway.
So how do we want to rate these? Just like a simple like Siskel and Ebert thumbs up, thumbs down? Or do you want to like grade school? Like
no, I think I like that. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or like equal.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs to the side.
Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumb to the side. I like that.
All right, Siskel and Ebert style it is then.
Okay.
So
you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so the first one I had is the character of Dumbledore in the Harry Potter franchise. Yeah. So Richard Harris played Dumbledore in the first movie and the second movie, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then he passed away, and Michael Gambon replaced him, I think, from the third movie, then through the rest of the films. So I think that Richard Harris is an amazing actor. He was the original Dumbledore. His funny, like, he didn't want to do it, but like his grandkids said, like, Grandpa, you have to do this. You have to do this. And so like those were like his last role that he played. So in a case like this, it's tough because he didn't do a lot of like he was in the role for 2 movies, but he was playing a already beloved character from a book series.
Yeah. And
he did it well. And so I was nervous, like, who are they going to bring in to replace him? But the actor, Michael Gambon, that they brought in, I thought did actually a really good job of just, like, picking up the mantle. And, like, he didn't change Dumbledore, but it was more like his take on the character was slightly different, a little more expressive than the Richard Harris version. I really, really liked it. For me, that was a thumbs up performance. I thought he came in, he did well, he held his own. And for me, I actually remember, because he was in more, the Michael Gambon performances better than I remember the Richard Harris performances.
Yeah. This is a very controversial subject in the Shaw household.
Really?
Jesse and I, there's a dichotomy in our opinion here. I mean, it's something else. because Jessie loves Richard Harris, thinks he's truer to Dumbledore, blah 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 blah, whatever she wants to say, which is probably true because she's read the books like 14,000 times, and I think that's just really great. I, however, think, was it Michael Gambon?
Yeah, Gambon. Yeah,
Way better for me. Oh yeah, like this is 2 thumbs up if I can possibly give 2 thumbs up here. Way more my kind of style. Just like I know when I was reading Harry Potter, I knew that Dumbledore was like old, but I never like Richard Harris was old, man.
right. Yeah.
Like old, like he can't move well. Like that kind of old it felt like. And there's parts that I'm thinking of in the latter, 6 Harry Potter movies where there's movement, there's expression, there's drama.
Right.
There's not that Richard Harris can't give drama at his advanced age, but it was better for me. This worked better for me. Not only was he do a good job, I think he did a better job for me. And I know I'm going to get knocked over the head by Super Friends perhaps, because I know that this is the biggest one on this list probably. And it might be controversial, but that's a thumbs up from you and a double thummy from me.
A double thummy. I like it. I liked his performance. I'm good with that. What's the next one you had?
I've got Mary Poppins.
Oh, okay.
And obviously, the original Mary Poppins was Julie Andrews.
Yeah.
Fantastic, classic movie. Like, if you haven't seen it, do you have a pulse? Like, get on it, kind of a situation here.
It was put out in 1964. It's been around a while.
No excuse. Anyway, we should have a movie club on Mary Poppins. I haven't seen
the original.
It's so good. Yeah.
All right.
It's a great movie.
I'd be down for that for like a retro podcast. Fun. Yeah.
Anyway, neither here nor there. I mean, it is here and there because we're talking about it. Replace, or it's interesting because obviously Julie Andrews got old, and the new Mary Poppins in the Mary Poppins Returns movie, I think is what it was called.
Right.
Is Emily Blunt. Now, I didn't really like Mary Poppins Returns. Kind of a hot take, kind of not. It did relatively well with critics and, people mostly enjoyed it. I found it a bit boring, especially compared to the original Mary Poppins, which I found much more exciting and a little bit more imaginative. And that's saying something because special effects now, you'd think that anyway, I'm not making a movie critique here. I'm making an actor to actor critique. Emily Blunt did fine. I'm giving it a sideways thumb because Emily Blunt can sing, not as well as Julie Andrews. Emily Blunt can act, not quite as good, but she didn't bomb it. It wasn't, for me, it's not like a thumbs down, like I was taken out of the experience because she was so unlike Mary Poppins. I think she did it well. She kind of took what Julie Andrews did and did the best that she could in her version of this character. So for me, it's kind of a thumb sideways.
So here's the thing. Mary Poppins in the original, played by Julie Andrews, is an iconic performance that has been around for generations. Like, generations of people have grown up watching that. So the problem's going to be anyone that's going to step in is going to look like a pale comparison. It's like when you hear an aspiring singer singing Whitney Houston songs. It's like, just stop. Whitney Houston's like one of the greatest vocalists of all time. If you're not at that level, you have no business trying to be that. So I think Emily Blunt did an okay performance. I think she did a fair job. Like, if you had never seen the original and were just seeing this one, and maybe you read the Mary Poppins books or you're aware of the character somehow, I think you'd think it was actually pretty decent. Yeah. The problem is that that's such an iconic role, and I believe if I'm correct that Julie Andrews won an Academy Award for that role, which kind of was maybe a little political also because she wasn't cast in the movie version of My Fair Lady after she'd been on Broadway for a number of years in the role of Eliza Doolittle, and so maybe it was the Academy's way of like, I don't know, kind of, kicking back to her and saying like, hey, we appreciate everything. I don't know, but still, for me, it's a thumb sideways because you're just never going to hit that level to make people forget about the original.
Yeah.
Not a bad job, but just like that's a tough row to hoe no matter who's in that role.
Yep.
So,
what else you got?
okay, so the next one I have is Vivian Banks. And Vivian Banks was actually the mother from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And if you ever watched that show, it was really interesting because I did. Like we watched that thing religiously on like what Monday nights I think is when it came out when I was a kid. But we watched the show, and it was through the first like I think 3 seasons. The mother or the Aunt Viv was played by Jeanette Hubert Whitten, and she played it for the first 3 seasons, and then apparently she was in some sort of a feud with the executives and Will Smith, and basically it sounds like Will Smith got her fired, and then she was replaced by this woman Daphne Maxwell Reid. And they didn't really address it. There was nothing really that kind of took place, like as far as like inside the show. It was just like she was just a different actress playing the same character with no real explanation. And this is like early-ish or maybe mid-90s, somewhere around there. So like the internet wasn't a thing. Like we weren't reading on TMZ about like what had happened and what the backstreet drama was up. Like you didn't know that. It was just, oh, this actress has been replaced by another actress. Did the other actress die? Like we didn't know. I don't know if you watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, if you've seen that. For me, it was just kind of like a thumb sideways type of move. The actress that came in did a fine job, but it was just weird. The actress that was in the role to begin with was doing a fine job. I think they both did okay, but like the actress that replaced her didn't do anything to really stand out and make it, make the character her own, but she didn't like destroy it either.
Right.
So it was just okay. It was a weird one. It was just kind of one of those unexplained things that happened, and as a kid you're like, this isn't the mom, this isn't the aunt, like what the heck happened?
Right. So I did watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't know who hasn't watched Fresh Prince.
At this point, yeah.
I would say for me it's definitely a sideways because I didn't even notice.
Oh, really?
Ever. Never noticed. Never really cared about her. Aunt Viv, she just was there and would show up. At least in my mind when I'm a kid watching this, I'm there for Carlton. I'm there for Will Smith.
And Uncle Phil.
I just, yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Phil.
And that's really, I don't really care.
Okay, yeah.
So I didn't notice. So for me, it has to be a thumb sideways just because I didn't notice.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, at all. So, anyway. So next one is Last Man Standing, the TV show going on 9 seasons or whatever. And it's just a merry-go-round of actors and actresses on this show, it feels like.
Yep.
Maybe that's true. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm lying. I know of at least 3. In season 1, the oldest sister, Kristen, is played by a completely different actress than what we get for the next 8.
Right.
A big switcheroo. Then in season 1, we get the father, the boyfriend of Kristen Baxter is played by Nick Jonas. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
That was freaking Nick Jonas when like Jonas Brothers were on a hiatus and he hated his family.
Right.
He was like, I'm just gonna act, I guess, and just give it a try. And then in a season when it got canceled, Mandy.
Right.
The middle sister, she didn't come back.
She got another job.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she had to be replaced.
Yep.
And she got another job. I mean, good for her, but nobody knows what she's doing right now, so probably not a great career move. Anyway, she gets replaced. So we've got 3 replacements. Nick Jonas one is more funny than
Right.
it is
Yeah.
important. He was only in like a handful of episodes at most. And then the reason he was off is because his character just got written off the show. And then when they were going to reintroduce his character, they were like, Nick, you want to come? And Nick was like, no, man, I'm good. And they got the new Ryan Vogel song.
And you know
actor.
what? That for me, that's a thumbs up. I think that the replacement to play the character of Ryan, the husband of the oldest daughter, I actually really enjoy him, and I thought he brought a lot to that character. The Jonas, was it Nick Jonas, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do anything for me. Like, he just kind of seemed like he was just there. He was just taking up scene space.
Yep.
So big thumbs up to the replacement on that casting.
Yep.
We'll get to the others. What did you think? Thumb up, thumb down?
That's a thumbs up for me as well. And it's a thumbs up just because it made sense with how they cast the new Kristen. Like, Kristen in season 1 looked a lot younger, and Nick Jonas looks a lot younger than Ryan does.
Right.
In the later seasons. So for me, it's a thumbs up for that. And I just think the dude freaking kills it as Ryan.
Yeah.
Just kills it. Way better than Nick Jonas could do. And it's not because Nick Jonas is an inferior actor. It's because this dude feels like he's born to play Ryan. And then, so let's go with Mandy.
What did you think of the Kristen?
I hated it at first. And then after 8 seasons, you just get used to it. So for me, it's a thumbs up. I think she does a good job. I don't really like her that much, but she plays the character well as they've written her. We didn't get enough of the first Kristen for me to be like, thumbs down, like, this lady sucks. If you'd asked me in season 2, I'd have given it a big fat thumbs down because I hated her. But now I'm used to her, so she's pretty good.
I think it's thumbs up for me too, for the actress that does Kristen now. I did miss the first season actress that played Kristen because I thought she was a little more engaging at first. It took a little while for me to get used to the other one. But yes, let's move on to Mandy.
This is the big one because Mandy is essential.
Yeah.
Important. And it was like right in the heart of the show and its popularity, and it was coming back and everyone was excited, and they're like, Mandy's not coming. You're like, what? So for me, it's a thumbs down on the new actress. And it's not because she's bad. It's because I think her name's Molly Ephraim, who played Mandy originally.
Yeah.
Just embodies Mandy. Hard to replace it. She does a good job, but it's a thumbs down for me.
Yeah, for me, it's a big thumbs down, like just big time. And it's because the actress that played that role and the way that role's written, like her role is literally like the middle child who like has all this potential, can do this stuff, but also kind of struggles and still needs help. And it gave like the parents a lot to bounce off of as far as like story wise. And she was short. She was a brunette.
Yes. Yep.
And when they replaced her with a tall blonde woman. It was like, okay, and then she became really ditzy. Like they changed the personality. So like if they would have recast and they would have got someone who maybe didn't look the same, but like the personality was still the same, I would have been like, oh, okay. But the problem is they changed the character. Yep. So it's not that the new actress doesn't do a good job of playing what's written on the page, but they changed the character. So this replacement is extremely noticeable, extremely jarring. Big thumbs down.
Agreed.
Big thumbs down.
All right, why don't you take the next 2 because I don't know what they are.
Okay, I'm actually going to just do one of these. And for me, this this one's funny to me. It's the character of Becky, who is the oldest daughter on the TV show Roseanne. So you got to remember, in the 80s, Roseanne Barr was a massive comedy star, and she got her own sitcom. And they cast this woman, Lacey Goranson, to play the oldest daughter, Becky. And she played the character through 5 seasons. 5 seasons. Okay? But she quit because she wanted to attend college. She went to Vassar College. So they brought in Sarah Chalk to replace her. And if you know Sarah Chalk, she was the replacement to Becky and played the character Becky. She also was on Scrubs. She also was Stella on How I Met Your Mother. Like, that's the actress. But the interesting thing was, they brought Sarah Chalk in, and they tried to play it off like there was no change. But, like, obviously when this happened, like, once again, at this point, it's like early-ish 90s, maybe like 93, somewhere around there. And it was noticeable, and they even poked fun at it on the show. And then the funny thing was, when the show got to like the 8th season, they brought Goranson back, who had finished doing, her schooling at Vassar, and she returned, and Lacey Goranson and Sarah Chalk alternated episodes playing the role of the oldest daughter, Becky, and kind of made it this running gag. And then during the 9th season, Chalk continued on as the character. And then when Roseanne was revived as the Connors, Goranson continued the role, but Sarah Chalk came on for a little bit for a different role. So this is one of these things where, like, a character got replaced with another, like one actress got replaced with another, and then a few years later they bring the other one back, and then they're like keep swapping back and forth. It obviously was done tongue-in-cheek. It obviously was played up to comedic effect, because they understood, like, it was unexpected. There was no way to really kind of, talk about it. And so it initially, when I saw it, it would have been a thumbs down, because we watched that show in my family because we thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
But then as it kind of went along, it was better, and I'd say kind of maybe it went to like the thumb sideways as it went on. But then when they get towards the end, where they start, like, because the opening title sequence, they show pictures of the kids, and as the show went on, they would show like pictures of these, kid actors as they grew up on the show, and so like they would kind of like morph the pictures as they grew up.
Right.
And when they would get to the daughter Becky, they would show her when she was younger, growing up, and then they morphed her into the Sarah Chalk character, and then morphed her back. Like, so it got to the point where it was a thumbs up from me in the end, because they understood the comedic value of what they had done, and they just like fed and leaned into it hardcore, and I thought that was really funny.
Nice.
So it's
nice.
For me, it's a big thumbs up in the end. So
okay. For me, it's a question mark, because
sure,
it's not a show that I watched. I'm pretty sure my parents didn't let me. So along with Married with Children and all of that stuff, I couldn't watch that stuff.
Mama Shaw wasn't letting you watch Married with
Simpsons
Children.
was a I don't think so.
Well, now you got Disney Plus. Make up for that. Yeah.
I know. Okay, so here's another big one. Rachel Dawes
from
the Batman Christopher Nolan series of films, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, played originally by Katie Holmes, taken over by Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Right.
Gyllenhaal, yeah. I'm just gonna say it. It's a thumbs down big. I do not like Maggie. I sorry.
Yeah.
It was a thumbs down. It was very abrupt. To me, it was. They don't look the same. I didn't like how Maggie Gyllenhaal played it either, in addition to just it being jarring and a little bit confusing, because you're like, wait, this is not the same girl.
Right.
I didn't like it.
It's a big thumbs down for me too, Matt.
We agree on every single one of these.
Not surprising so far there. For me, it's one of those things too where, like, I'm not a big fan of Maggie Gyllenhaal's roles and maybe acting, I'll even say.
Yep. Agreed.
Not that she's bad, but like for me, it just doesn't resonate with me for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I really resonate with Katie Holmes either, because she just I was kind of like, whatever.
Katie Holmes is a big whatever.
Yes,
Just
yes.
as an actress in general, she's like, oh, she's here.
Yep, that's how I could.
Gyllenhaal, I think we're like,
Yeah. So it was one of those like, why did they replace her? I don't know.
Right.
But honestly, I think they could have just written that character out and done something else. But
right.
big thumbs down. Not a
Yep.
fan. Not a fan of that recasting there.
Agreed.
Okay, here's the next one I have, and I thought this was very interesting. Rhodey from the MCU. We're talking about the character that was first played by Terrence Howard in Iron Man,
Yep.
and then from Iron Man 2 on through the rest of the MCU, played by Don Cheadle. I really, really liked the portrayal of Rhodey by Terrence Howard. I think Terrence Howard is an excellent, excellent actor. But he left because basically they weren't going to pay him the money that they weren't going to pay him the money he thought that he should have been getting, or right. He said like this is a big deal. Robert Downey Jr. is getting all this money, and I'm not going to get nearly anything near there, and so he stepped away. And then Don Cheadle came in and filled in the roles and has been in multiple MCU movies. I get from like a negotiating pay thing, like if you think like, hey, these are going to be big, I want to be paid well. You're not the star though, so trying to demand what the big star and this was the big star that they were going to pin the MCU on and around for the next number of years. If you're not that guy, it's going to be hard to get that kind of money. But Don Cheadle came in, and I kind of went, okay, Terrence Howard was an amazing actor, is an amazing actor, but Don Cheadle is an amazing actor in his own right. And I just kind of went like, this is a thumb sideways for me. It didn't really like improve upon the character, it didn't make the character better, but it didn't really take away from what the character was. And at this point, I think it's easy for a lot of people to forget that Don Cheadle hasn't been the character in every movie, because he's been in every one that character's in except for one.
Yeah, I will diverge for the first time. We're gonna not really disagree, but I am going to say it's a thumbs down for me.
Oh, really?
And it's not that I don't like Don Cheadle, because I do. I think he's funny and he's great. I just like the way that Terrence Howard portrayed him. It was a little Don Cheadle to me. His portrayal feels like he's just a little lackey for Iron Man. Terrence Howard, there was like some resistance in his character.
He had more authority.
Yeah. And you look at Terrence Howard and you're like, I don't want to mess with him. You look at Don Cheadle and you're like, he looks anemic and I could kick his butt. And so that for me, it's like, I think that Terrence Howard would have brought something more to the character to make me care about him more. Because to me, Rhodey is just a big fat Weiss, even in these movies, kind of a thing. And that's not a good thing. So it's a thumbs down for me.
Wow.
Love the guy, but when you're comparing with Terrence Howard, it just, nope.
Fair enough.
Nope.
Fair enough.
Next one. We got a lot of Bruce Banners.
Yes, we do.
So.
Yes, we do.
Eric Bana to Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo. The Evolution.
Right.
So this is easy for me. If you look at this, is a thumbs up. Like perhaps the biggest possible thumbs up in the history of thumbs up.
Would you say it's thumbs up all the way?
Yes, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And that's just in order of crappiness of the movies too, I think. I'm trying to remember who was in which.
So Eric Bana was in Ang Lee's Hulk, which was like 2004.
Okay.
That's the Hulk movie that was very comic booky,
Okay.
but was not as well received.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I liked Eric Bana's portrayal of the character, but we're grading not the portrayal of the character, but like the transition for the replacement.
Yes.
So going from Eric Bana to Edward Norton for me was a big thumbs up. I think Edward Norton played the heck out of that role, and he played Bruce Banner, I think, better. I think like more true to like what I think of when I think of Bruce Banner as someone who's read the comics, right? Like he's very smart, he's very intelligent, but like
Right.
he portrayed that like inner rage that he's trying to hold back
Mm-hmm.
a lot better. I thought that was a big upgrade going from Bana to Edward Norton. Now, here's where you and I are probably going to disagree. I think the recasting from Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo is a big thumbs down. I like the Hulk. I mean, I love the Hulk. And I think Mark Ruffalo is okay. But Mark Ruffalo never, to me, Mark Ruffalo's a nice guy. Mark Ruffalo in most of the stuff you see, he's just like this nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't for me portray the panic in trying to keep the Hulk from coming out. He doesn't portray like the inner turmoil to me very well, and I think that's a big part of that character of Bruce Banner. He plays the I'm a scientist and I'm really smart, kind of nerdy in a casual way. Fine,
Right.
but Edward Norton to me, I think, was the best version of that character. And the only reason why we didn't get more Edward Norton, because Edward Norton was supposed to be in the Avengers, but
Mm-hmm.
Edward Norton wanted to have creative control. He wanted to be able to, um, not necessarily direct, but like have some control over that. And he wanted to help write it. Because originally, I think Edgar Wright was going to be the one that was going to direct that in the early days, and it was kind of like Edgar Wright along with Edward Norton were going to be the ones kind of in charge of that, and then that got pulled, and Edward Norton's like, well, fine then, I don't want to be a part of this, and he
Yeah.
bounced. So
Okay.
I loved his version. I love watching his portrayal. I'm okay with Mark Ruffalo, but unfortunately, that transition for me was a little too dry. And I went like, we just had this movie that just came out like 2 years ago. It is an MCU movie, and now we get this guy. I'm like, this is like Mr. 13 going on 30, lovable teddy bear kind of guy,
Right.
who now apparently turns into the Hulk.
Right.
So that was a big thumbs down for me. So I'm going to disagree with you a little bit.
Well, that's okay. Again, I'm not familiar with the comic books. I don't really care.
Sure.
I like Mark Ruffalo more. His movies were better. In my opinion, I'm going to say this. The Incredible Hulk movies were awful.
Oh, I'm not
Both of
gonna
them
disagree
were
with you.
Awful.
Yeah,
And
I
the
won't
2004 film
disagree
is
with
one
you.
of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. That and X3, two of the worst movies I've ever had to watch. I was in high school when I was like, I love movies, and like I'm midnight release for those movies. It's gonna be awesome. They were terrible.
Hmm.
So it's hard for me to separate that because they weren't good movies to me. So anyway, I definitely get what you're saying.
Sure. Yeah.
Love it. I'll do this next one because I know you don't know it, and that's Boy Meets World.
Yep. You're on your own.
Classic TV show. It's shocking to me still that you have not watched Boy Meets World, one of the most popular TV shows, perhaps the most popular TV show that was born in the 90s. Massive. In the first season, his little sister is played. Oh, what was her name? Hold on just a sec. Lily Nixay. Cute little girl. She's like 4 years old. Adorable, sweet, loving, just wonderful. She plays this role of Morgan for 2 years. Then all of a sudden, in season 3, as all of these kids are evolving and changing because they're like cast like little, like Harry Potter, you watching, you're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, great, they were so little," and then they grow up and they hit puberty, and you're like, number 3 and 4 is a little bit awkward because they're like growing into their
Sure.
bodies. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Gosh."
Yeah.
We're kind of getting that, but it was so she left the role as a mutual decision with her parents because she didn't like acting. She's 4 years old. She's like, I'd rather be playing with my friends and riding my bike and stuff. Which
4 years old, fair enough.
sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure now she's like, crap, I did not know this was going to be like such a big deal.
Yeah.
But the girl who replaced her completely changed the character. Sassy attitude, still like a cute little girl, but not the cute, nice little girl that we saw in seasons 1 and 2. I know you've never seen it, so I'll get on with it. It's a thumbs down, big thumbs down. Both Jesse and I are like, I don't like it. I don't like the way that she plays the character. It's hard for me to be like, yeah, this 6-year-old was awful, but she was. So sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
The first girl was just much better. Too bad she's a little girl and doesn't want to act. Can you imagine getting your kids to act? Yeah, no chance.
I wish they could make that money.
Emmy's freaking age almost, a little bit older than Emmy. Anyway, there you go. So that's that one. Thumbs down.
I don't know if I have any more. I think the last one you've got, and it's another one I haven't seen.
Another one you haven't seen. Okay, this is for all my Twilight heads out there.
Are they called Twihards?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Twitards? I don't know. I don't remember what it was.
That's not it.
I think it could be.
Anyway, the role of Victoria, who is a villainous vampire, was originally played by Rachel Lefevre. I completely butchered that. It's probably like Rachel Lefevre or something like that, but I did my best to butcher it.
Okay.
And this is of interest to you, and the reason I put this on, because I could have passed this over, but it's interesting because she was replaced by Bryce Dallas Howard, who is a huge name now.
Yes.
Not just as an actress.
Or the daughter of Ron Howard. Yeah.
Yeah, but in our sphere, because she's a director for The Mandalorian, she's in Star Wars now.
Yep.
Which is really cool. So this is very interesting. Again, Jesse and I have talked about this because the change is subtle. Because the way that you make a vampire is you make him look pasty, and she had like bright red hair, so the casting was natural and easy for Bryce Dallas Howard to kind of jump into. They were about the same age. Not a lot for this character to do in the first movie that she was in, so for me it's kind of a thumbs sideways. And that's because I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the first actress, who we didn't get to see in the role as much, because Victoria is a major villain in Twilight, and you get a little bit more of the Bryce Dallas Howard version. So for me, it's a sideways.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I've never seen the Twilights, and so I wouldn't have even known that.
It's interesting
that there'd been a recasting.
Can't say that it's like good, but it's good in like that weird way. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I kind of like them.
So the interesting thing is, like, I know that there's been a lot of other actors and actresses that have been recast, and, for whatever reason. I mean, like, this isn't something new. This has been going on for a long time. But these were some of the ones that we thought of off the top of our heads that we kind of went like, oh, like, I remember this, or this was big and this was really talked about it at, this point in time or whatever. So here's the question we have, Super Friends, for you. Besides Matt's shout out to giving us a Christmas movie that's a deep cut that we may not think of to watch, the question of the week is, for you, who is a thumbs up as far as a replacement actor or actress that comes in to fill a role, and then who is a thumbs down for the same thing? So someone who came in and did it better and did a great job versus someone who came in and did a poor job. And that'll be our question of the week, because I'm be curious to see what some of you say and maybe the reasons why. Maybe you agree with it, with what we said.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't, and like you have the same thing, but you have like a completely different reason for why you disagree with us. Let us know, and we'll talk about those next week. All the normal places: Facebook, email, Twitter, Discord, YouTube, Instagram, smoke signals, carrier pigeons, whatever. Matt, we're looking ahead. This is the month of December, so we got Christmas coming up. So obviously, we're gonna have our annual Christmas competition where we have a list and we each argue our point and try to convince the other person that we're right, and then one of us has to concede the point and we tally them up. We've done that every year since the beginning. We've got that coming up. We're gonna have our best of 2020 and our look ahead to 2021 for New Year's. So we got a couple other things coming up. We're gonna toss in a movie club. We're gonna do something that's Christmas themed.
Yeah.
And then of course, like, we're gonna have to come up with some other holiday stuff and kind of keep it fun and light through the month of December and the end of this year. And my hope and prayer is we can get through 2020 all right, turn the corner and the page on this year, and make 2021 a much better year, not just here in the Fortress of Nerditude, but everywhere out there. So we're gonna make sure that we're doing our part to bring a little joy to the Super Friends through the end of 2020.
Love it. Just love it.
Well, Matt, it's been fun. I look forward to watching The Mandalorian a little later this week and then talking with you again, and then I'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
All right, Super Friends, from all of us here at the Fortress of Nerditude to all of you out there, wherever you may be, may the Force be with you, always.